Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today, we're going to go over some power rankings, some top 10 teams that both of us see. We're also going to touch on the schedule release. It finally got released. I don't know about you, but whenever the schedule gets released, it feels like the year has officially begun. It feels like the draft, free agency, that's all off-season stuff. Whenever we get the schedule, I'm thinking, okay, we're here. It's the 2026 season now, even though we still got training camp and all that stuff, OTAs. I feel like the year has finally gone to the next season. But first, we have to start with an unfortunate circumstance, and that's Aaron Rodgers. So he officially signed. It was speculated that he was going to. So it wasn't a surprise that he signed. But I was a little sticker shocked by the amount. I believe it is a 1 year, like $22 million deal, or it's a 1 year, $20 million deal with like 5 million incentives. So it could go up to 25 million, somewhere along those lines. When last year he signed for like 1 year, 12 or 13. So they're paying him double the money for being a year older and for having average-ish quarterback play last year. I am not seeing the logic there. And I feel bad for Steelers fans because they have to deal with another like 9-8 season yet again every single year. You need to either really be bad so you can draft high, especially in this coming up draft when there's a ton of really good quarterbacks, or you need to swing for the fences and pick up a good quarterback that can take you to like 11 or 12 wins and actually have some potential in the postseason. But with Aaron Rodgers, again, you're pretty much guaranteeing 9 wins, flirting with wild card or maybe division, depending on injuries like last year, but then being one and done in the playoffs. So I mean, why bother? Why bother picking 20th every single year and never going anywhere? I just don't get it. And I don't get why you're paying him that much money. That's a lot of money for a 43-year-old who looked scared last year to hold the ball for more than 2 seconds. I don't understand it. I'm actually the one part that I am really sad about is we don't get to play them, so we don't get to hurt Aaron Rodgers like we did last year. I really enjoy pressuring him and sacking him and hitting him. We don't get to do that this year. So that's the one part that's sad, other than Steelers fans have to deal with this yet again.
Yep. Yep. I agree, man. It's an interesting situation. I We all knew it was happening. We all expected it. Here we are.
hmm
Um, yeah, I would have done something completely different, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, I might have had the thought of giving Will Howard a shot. He's their second year from last year. They drafted him, I think, like the third-ish round, fourth-ish round last year. I would have see what he got, see what he could do. Give him a few games. If it doesn't turn out, then you can throw in, I think, Aller. I think that's who they drafted. Throw him out there. See what he's got. Kind of like the Saints did last year. They throw out Tyler Shook. They threw out Rattler. They saw what they had in both of them. They have a decent idea. This is the year that either Shook makes it or breaks it, and then they go draft someone. That's smart. Saints organizations being smart. Steelers are not.
Yeah. I mean, I've got nothing, Andrew. There's nothing left to talk about. It's
Nothing left to talk about. We spent probably five
well,
minutes too long.
the Steelers have been making this decision for years. You
hmm
know, they held on to Ben Roethlisberger for too long. Then they had a weird gap situation where they didn't have a
Kenny
quarterback
Pickett.
answer. I mean, I'm not going to blame them for Kenny Pickett because you're allowed to have a one-off,
hmm
right? But it's the continual double down on quarterbacks that make no sense. And that's just kind of how it's been. So we'll see what happens with Drew Aller. The one thing I hated, I saw this a couple weeks ago, but Mike McCarthy basically was like, "Oh, we're having to dump everything out he learned in college," and I'm just like, "Okay, that's just dumb."
Yeah, that's no.
You're
Yeah.
The only reason he's saying that is because the Penn State head coach, football coach, Franklin was fired. That's the only reason why you could say that. If he wasn't fired,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't be able to make a comment like that. But you were able to get away with it and throw some shade at the program and buy yourself some time and a little bit of wiggle room if things don't work out by saying, hey, it's their fault if it doesn't work out. Like it's just such a wimpy. Like what about Shook? Shook didn't have like an amazing college career, so like should kill
Mm-hmm.
him more. Say, hey, we're gonna have to train him, retrain him on everything, and he just doesn't know
Yep.
anything he needs to do. It just is such a wimpy argument, and it just reminds me of why Mike McCarthy drove me nuts. He holds on to that single Super Bowl ring like he's some you know
Yep.
novelty, and it's like, okay, you won one Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has been to more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers has ever been to. Like, enough. It just drives me nuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that's Aaron Rodgers had good moments, but I just feel like he's just had his moment in the sun for so long. It's time to
Mm-hmm.
turn the page. It's time to move on.
Yep.
But one thing that we'll add on the Aaron Rodgers thing, it did not help how much the Raiders paid Kirk Cousins. It
Sure.
gave him leverage. Here's an example. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
he's getting that much. Why am I not getting that much?
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't know what the Raiders were doing. I think the Raiders overpaid for Kirk Cousins, and
For
but then
sure.
again, they
Yeah.
overpaid for Tyler Linderbaum. So yeah,
When
just
you
some
have
questionable
excess of
decisions all
money,
around.
yeah, when you have an excess of money like they do, you go crazy. You go ham, as the kids say.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say, Andrew. I'm ready to turn the page. Let's get to some other news.
Yes. And speaking of the Raiders, this is a great segue. I wanted to talk about so the schedule got released past this past week on Thursday, and it's always all teams have these like teams that do a schedule release video, whatever section of their staff they set that to, the video editing staff, whatever it is. They always try to make some entertaining videos, and there were some good ones this year. I didn't see a lot of them. I saw a handful of some videos I wanted to check out. Um, I was okay with the Minnesota Vikings one. I thought they played it safe. I thought it was solid, but I have to give a shout out to two specifically because they were awesome. The Chargers always do a great job, and their Halo themed schedule release was pretty funny, pretty entertaining. I enjoyed that, but I also got to give a shout out to the Raiders. That Step Brothers, that Step Brothers release video was horrible acting, but very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. In that moment, whenever Kirk Cousins set up was like, yep, I was like, oh my gosh, he way overdid that, but it was awesome. I got to give him credit on that, especially with the narrative of this whole rookie coming in, taking over for the vet eventually, whole thing, kind of like the Step Brothers movie. It was, married into another family, brothers being older, and that whole narrative. It made sense. I enjoyed it. It was well written, well done. Good job, Raiders. Did you have any of the like release videos you really enjoyed?
Um, I was just gonna mention the Minnesota Vikings table, or was it teaspoon? Do you know what I'm talking about? The subtle jab against the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we were doing a for every game we did like a meal for every game, and we kind of had a subtle jab at every single team, and that was the jab for the Patriots. And yeah, it was pretty funny. I think honestly, my favorite was whenever they went to the Packers, they really did their worst to present the dish. Like they had a little thing of cheese in a little like container, and they just splattered it everywhere. They didn't really care because it was the Packers. I found that entertaining. But the best part of the Vikings video was Will Reichert, our kicker. Whenever Chris Jericho, who wrestling fans are out there, was asking him if he had any allergies, he said, just camera wires. And he looked at the camera.
The other
I was like, that was great.
the other thing I was going to mention too is the Rams using the Napoleon Dynamite video was awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, it was fun. There's some good ones out there. So it's always fun to see what people do. Um,
Hmm.
but Yeah, finally have it. Have the full schedule. And who has the most primetime game? Is that the Eagles?
I think it's the Rams. I think the
Okay.
Rams have the most. I think the Eagles are tied with second with like three other teams. But I think the Rams have seven. I think the Eagles have six.
Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, they deserve it. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually impressed that Minnesota got four. I was like, oh, okay, appreciate it. We got four, and we got them almost like within 5 or 6 weeks. It's like jam packed, kind of in the middle of the season. So I was like, I could deal with that. I don't mind that because by that time we'll be like 10-0. We'll get prime time games.
The part that I'm most looking forward to for the NFL schedule release is, and we've talked about this before, Wednesday games are a dumb idea except for one week. Week one. Week one, you are allowed NFL to go to a Wednesday game. And if players complain, I would say it makes no difference with when the preseason happens. No player plays
Hmm.
as far as starter in the final preseason game. So you've got a nice bump between preseason and regular season. But that to me was a no-brainer move to move to a Wednesday
Hmm.
night, especially with the fact that you have the Thursday night Rams and 49ers matchup in Australia.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I really look forward to that. I think that's going to be really fun. Um,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And we'll get into our individual team schedule in our next episode, but I have to say I was at first sad that Minnesota got another international game after we had back to back last year. But then I looked at it closely and I kind of like it. And I'll talk about it in our next video. Little
Little tease.
little foreshadowing there. Yeah, because there's a reason why I liked it. Well, there's two reasons, but yeah, I was like, oh, I don't mind that at all, actually. Um, and another little tease onto that with our preseason. So we'll get into that next episode. But overall, the schedule release, it's always fun. Um, and then you always look at your own division. And I wanted to get one topic off my chest, and then we'll dive into our power rankings. But I'm kind of torn on the whole first place schedule versus fourth place schedule in each division because it's a 3 game difference. That's really it. So, like for the NFC North, we're playing the AFC East and we're playing the NFC West this year. No, not the West, excuse me. We're playing the NFC South this year. So, we're playing the NFC South, we're playing the AFC East. So, we have 14 of the 17 games are all the same. Away, home, different. But we have our 3 division games. That's 6 games out of the schedule, and then those 2 conferences we're playing. So all those are the same. There's only 3 games difference, and that's a game against the AFC South. So Minnesota has, um, we don't have the Titans, we have the
You have
Colts.
the Colts.
Yeah, we have the Colts. The Bears have the Jaguars. The Packers have the Texans, and then the Lions have the Titans. So I can see why the Lions having the fourth place schedule, playing the Titans. Okay, that should be definitely an easier matchup than, say, the Texans. I get that, but that's only 3 games, and the ranking of like the opposing teams is vastly different from the Bears to the Lions. So the Bears play the Jaguars, the Lions play the Titans. That's not a huge difference in my opinion. Titans have a new head coaching staff. They're trying to get better. Oh, God bless you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. And then the other division is the NFC West. So the Lions play the Cardinals. Okay, they're one of the worst rosters. The Bears play the
I mean, that's two
Seahawks.
games. That's 2 games right there that are way easier than your guys. That makes a big difference, man.
I don't know. It's only 3 games. The rest of the 14 are the same. So
I
I'm torn
mean,
on it because I mean, if you're going to guarantee me, like 100% guarantee that that's 3 wins and that's 3 losses, okay, three
but
wins
think
against
about
three
it.
losses.
You guys were only um, 2 games without tiebreakers behind the Bears last year for the division. That was it.
Yeah.
So 3 games matters.
There is other factors. I mean, if we cover that kick return, this is a different story.
I think that's way too into the weeds. I think schedule definitely is justified to say, man, that really made things easier this year.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm torn. If you're playing the two easiest conferences, like whatever you can say the easiest conferences are on each side,
You
and
mean
so you
divisions?
already, yeah, excuse me, the easiest divisions on each
Okay.
side, and your schedule is already easy, and then you get three also easy teams in your schedule compared to everyone else, kind of like what the Patriots did last year. They had a really cakewalk schedule. Even Patriots fans can acknowledge that, and they barely won some games. They
We sure
got to
did.
this. I mean, they got all the way to the Super Bowl, so congratulations to them. But did anyone really think they were a Super Bowl contender? And it kind of showed in that Super Bowl game. And getting to the Super Bowl, they had to go through injured team after injured team. So there were factors, which hey, that happens. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it because everyone's already booking the Lions to basically be a Super Bowl contender. I'm thinking, I mean, a playoff team, sure. I imagine they make the playoffs, and we'll get into that in the future. I see them as a playoff team, strong chance to win the division, but just because they have an easy schedule and they're going to make the playoffs doesn't make every team a Super Bowl contender. I don't believe the Lions are a Super Bowl contender, but there's a lot of people out there who are saying it. So I don't know. I just want to get that off my chest that I'm kind of torn on this first place versus fourth place schedule because it's 3 games.
Okay, but let's think about this, right? Let's take a moment. Let's step back. Let's think about the schedule. Saints Lions, who wins?
Saints Lions. I think where's it at?
Come on, Andrew. You are
Hey,
overthinking this.
no, the Saints
They're
are a
they're
sneaky
home.
team.
They're
The,
home.
the Saints are an up and coming team. I would not
The
be
Lions are
surprised if
home.
they surprise a team here or there. I would pick the Lions to win that game, sure, but we all every team in the NFC North play the Saints.
All right,
So
let's
that's
keep going. Come on. It's just hold on. Keep your
oh,
Vikings
I
bias
already
too
did
low.
no, I already did this. I literally did this last night. I had all four NFC North teams, and I did win loss on every single NFC North team. So I already have this. So yeah, I had that as a win. I actually had the Lions starting off like 4-1 before their bye.
Okay, I would agree with you there. Okay, because that means they played the Saints win. I'm guessing Bills lost.
Mm-hmm.
Jets win. Panthers win. Cardinals win. And then you're saying
Then they're
they'll
bye.
lose to the Packers that next
I
game.
pretty much every division team I have
Split.
split.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
loss
fair.
away, then win at home. Outside of Minnesota, because Minnesota beat them twice last year, so I had them losing us twice. I'm just saying.
I think right now they'd be the Patriots. I'm looking
I
here
was
at where's
seeing
the holes, right? Like where's the holes? The division games, sure.
the schedule. I don't know when the Patriots were. Yeah,
It's an overseas game.
I had the lines
Wow.
on mine going 10-7 in my little mock. Hmm.
I think that's low.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's just something that I'm kind of torn on. I could see there's three teams that are different for the Chicago Bears to the Lions. Like Chicago has to play Seattle, Lions got to play the Cardinals. Okay, yes, but still, it's not like this is this drastic difference because 14 games are all the same. It just depends on where they're at and where
I
it
mean, I
lands
hear
on the
you, but
schedule.
the division
Like, do
came
you have
down
any
to
outdoor games?
right, but the division came down to 2 games last year. It did. It matters, man.
Hmm.
The 3 games difference matters. It does. It makes a difference between who wins the
It,
division, who
it
doesn't.
it matters on who's making the playoffs. My point was the Lions are being like the Super Bowl contender to all these analysts. I'm thinking, what are you seeing that? And the point they keep going to is the easy schedule. Just because they have the easy schedule means they're a good team. They have an easy schedule for a reason. They were the last place team last year, and Minnesota knocked them out of the playoffs. Just saying.
All right, Andrew, let's move on to the next point.
Yes. Yes. Do we want to go to our power rankings?
Yes, I think that that sounds like a good idea. I just actually refreshed myself with Rich Eisen's power rankings, and wow,
Yeah.
um, this is a first for me, but that was awful. I like Rich
Yeah.
Eisen, but I don't know
I
what
like
he
him a
was
lot
doing
too.
in that one.
And I do like his whole way, 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 way too early stuff. And everyone always starts with playoff teams from last year. And that just goes to my point just now. Just because you made the playoffs doesn't mean you're a really good team. Maybe you had a really easy schedule, but doesn't mean you're a true contender. And I think, and that's what happened the year before. Everyone had the Commanders as like the third best team in the power rankings last year. We had that too. I looked at ours. We had the Commanders like top five. And even before Jane Daniels got hurt, they struggled. So there's teams that always tend to struggle a little bit. The Patriots are going to be one of those. I imagine we're going to agree with that are going to have a little bit of struggle this year. So I saw his power rankings. I saw some things I agreed with, but there was a few things I was like, no, I don't see that. I don't know. I can't see the Broncos being that high. I don't know. And I live in Colorado, so I'm hearing all of the Broncos Kool-Aid over here. But there were a couple teams that he didn't have in there. I was like, I don't know about that. I kind of disagree. But his top team, I did agree with. And do we want to start from the bottom to the top or top to the bottom for top 10? What do you think?
Um, that's a fair question. I'm trying to think about that here.
Well,
Um,
what I can do is I have mine ready. I can go from 10 to 1 and I can mention some like just missed the top 10s. And I am as anti-biased as I can on this. I have the Vikings at 15 overall. 15.
okay,
The lowest in the NFC North.
nice job, Andrew.
Now, as far as talent goes, I think they're one of the most talented teams in NFC North, but they haven't proven it on the field, and they have a new quarterback. They have to change their system. A lot of question marks there. So at the very beginning of this off like training camp, and as Rich Eisen say, way, way, way too early, I have them 15. I have the Bears just above them at 14. I'm not a really big believer in the Bears. I think they got lucky
Okay,
last year, and they had a lot, way too many fourth quarter comebacks. That's not sustainable. And their defense had the most interceptions in the league. Not sustainable. And they lost pieces on defense. And they lost DJ Moore. So I'm not a huge believer in them. I have the Lions right outside the top 10. I have them at 11. I think they also got a little bit worse. And everyone's saying they were just riddled with injuries last year. Sure, they had some starters that got hurt, but they didn't lose any stars. Like Hutchinson played the whole year. Jared Goff didn't get hurt. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get hurt. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't get hurt. Their stars played the whole year, and they were 9-8. I think that's something. So I had them at 11. But as far as my top 10, at number 10, I have the Packers. Like I said, three teams above the Vikings. So the Packers as a top 10 team. They did lose half their starting receiving core basically with Romeo Doubs and Damian Wicks. I think that matters. Micah Parsons
absolutely.
isn't. Micah Parsons is not healthy right now. Tucker Kraft is not healthy right now. Zach Tom is not healthy right now. So going into the year, week one, they're still a good team. I got to give their coach staff credit. They are phenomenal at getting their team ready. Even when you doubt them, they always somehow seem to win. So I have them as the 10th best team. I got to give them respect. I don't like them. I really wish the least success for them, but they are a good team. I got them in the top 10. How far do you want me to go before? Maybe I'll go 10 through 5, then you do 10 through 5.
I like it.
Or 10 through 6. I'll do 10 through
Okay,
6, then you do 10 through 6. At number 9, I'm not sure if you'll super agree with this. I actually have them lower than a lot of people. A lot of people are like, this team is a contender. I'm like, nah, they're a good team, top 10 team. They added some pieces in the draft and the offseason on defense. I like where they're going, but they're rookies. You need to see if they truly pan out. I have the Cowboys at 9 because their offense is possibly the best offense in the league. Definitely top 3 if they're healthy. And right now, they're all healthy. George Pickens signed his franchise tender. So really good offense. Give him credit there. Their defense was very suspect. They added some pieces, sure. Caleb Downs in the draft, um, Malachi Lawrence in the draft. Like potential, there's things there. But the rookies, you don't know if they're truly going to pan out. So I can't. I barely got them in the top 10 because of their offense. Their offense is elite. Their defense could be fine, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys at 9. At 8, I probably am higher than you on this team. They have a new coach, but Lamar Jackson is still awesome. I have the Ravens at 8. They did lose some pieces. They lost Linderbaum, so they had to figure out the center position. They did pick up Henderson from the Bengals, so their defense got better. They still have Roquan Smith. They still have some good corners, good secondary. Kyle Hamilton is awesome. So real like Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers. They need some more receiving help. They didn't really address that. That is an issue, but
I think
I
it's a huge
still
issue.
but
Huge
I
issue.
still think Lamar Jackson can get them to be a top 10 team. Does that mean they're going to be a Super Bowl contender? No. I'm not saying that. Again, this is just week one power rankings way too early. I think they're a top 10 team. I have them at 8. At 7, we're hearing so many things about that he's rehabbing and he's ready to go week one. I don't understand it, but they did add the Super Bowl MVP to their team, which I think is very going way under the radar right now. And that's the Kansas City Chiefs. They drafted Monsieur Delane to shore up that secondary because they traded Duff to the Rams. Um, and then they picked up Ken Walker III, one of the best running backs in this league, to go along with Patrick Mahomes. Even if Mahomes isn't healthy and he's playing week one, they don't have to have him carry the team because they have a good defense. They have Ken Walker that can carry the team until Mahomes turns into Mahomes again. So I have the Chiefs at 7. I think they're also kind of going under the radar a little bit. And then at 6, you're going to see a little pattern here. At 6, I do have the Broncos because they have, to me, either the number 1 or number 2 defense. Them or the Texans. You go back and forth. I can hear either argument. And they added Jalen Waddle, so they try to shore up that wide receiver room. That does improve them. And they drafted the running back out of Washington, Jonah Coleman. So their running back room is really deep now. It's not good for fantasy football players, but their running back room is deep now. They can just throw up guys in RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Jonah Coleman. So the only question mark for them on offense is Bo Nix. A, is he healthy? And B, is he good? That's those are the questions. Because when he missed that playoff game, would they have won with Bo Nix in there? Maybe. Everyone's saying it's a guarantee. I don't know if that was a guarantee because I'm not a huge Bo Nix stan. He's fine, but can he be that guy? I don't know. So I have the Broncos at 6. So my 10 through 6 were the Packers at 10, Cowboys at 9, Ravens at 8, Chiefs at 7, Broncos at 6.
There's just one thing here I'm just going back and forth on. Um, because I had this mostly done, but then I wanted to see what you had to say,
Hmm.
just to see as far as like comparison.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm going to put the 49ers at 10.
Okay.
I think they sneak
I'm
in
actually
there.
I'm actually shocked you have them that high because how
You
they're getting
know,
older and they can't draft.
it's true, but I think they have enough. I'm looking just this year, just this
Hmm.
season. If we were talking about power rankings looking into the future, I think you'd be right. I think they've got enough of a window. Um,
Hmm.
I think the Bears regress, so I left them outside of my top 10. Um, but they would be probably for me like 11. That's probably where I'd put
Okay.
the Bears. I'm going to put the Chiefs at 9,
Okay.
and that's only because of the fact we don't know what Mahomes is going to look like. I love the Kenneth Walker signing, and I think it has the potential to have the Saquon Barkley effect. I think that's why they did it, and I think it's crazy that no one's really talking about it.
Hmm.
and for the implications it could have. I have the Patriots at 8.
You put the Pats in top 10. Wow, I'm
I
actually
thought about
really
it.
shocked about that. I had them at 12, just thrown out there. I had them at 12, right? I had the Lions 11, them 12, Texans 13. So,
And I still got to give the Patriots props, but
and right now they
they
don't have AJ Brown. Once I get AJ Brown, they might throw into my top 10.
that's
But
fair.
right now, they don't have AJ Brown.
Um, but I'd probably say for me like 11, 12 Lions or Bears, Lions.
Okay. Yeah.
Texans probably like 13.
Yeah.
Um, so
We're
okay,
pretty
we left
close
out
on
the
those. Yeah.
Patriots. Seahawks at 7 for me.
Okay. Okay.
And listen, I think that Kenneth Walker was a way bigger part of that offense than they're acting like. It's a
Mm-hmm.
huge loss to act like he's
Mm-hmm.
not going to make a big difference. Him not being there will be massive. Um, I still think they'll be competitive. I still think they'll do okay. But I think you combine that with having the target on your back, and also they lost some key defensive pieces. They had people go elsewhere, so it's not like it was a zero-sum game. Breek Woolen going to the Eagles. Who knows? Some people are making it sound like they wanted to let him go. I know that they
Mm-hmm.
also lost other defensive players, so I don't think they're a top 5 team. I think that they took advantage of the perfect storm. And then for me, I put the Jaguars at 6.
Okay. I had them like around right like I had a bundle of teams that I kind of valued the same. Right around with the Vikings, I had the Vikings, Bucks, Bengals, Jags, Commanders, all of them kind of in there. That's where I had the Jags is in that grouping.
I feel like that the Commanders, it's a bit different. And the same thing with the Vikings. You got to do some rehab. The Jaguars have to do no rehab. They just lost a really tough playoff
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just never really been a huge believer in them. I don't know what it is. I just can't put my finger on it. I have some kind of bias against them, and I'll admit it that. And I just don't know what it is. Is it Lawrence because I've drafted him too many times in fantasy and he's burned me? Could be. That could be it. I don't know. I don't know, but I've never been a huge believer in them. And what are they doing with BTJ? And what are they doing with Travis Hunter? I have too many questions. They have a lot of talent, but I don't know. And they just lost Travis Etienne. So is Tootin really going to be their guy? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I was legitimately impressed with the way they played last year. They had
Hmm.
some great. I mean, they went on the road and beat the Broncos, and that was at the point where the Broncos were really good. No one
Hmm.
saw that coming. I mean, I did. I picked them, so I will definitely pat myself on the back.
I mean, I did.
But I like the Jaguars. I like their division right now. The Texans have a horrible offense for the most part. It's not a great offense.
Hmm.
And they have an elite defense, which is not something you want, but they're going to split, right? So that's one win. Um, but yeah, so that's where I'm at for my 10 through 6.
Okay. All right. We have actually a decent amount of differences in our 10 through 6. I think
Who did you have again?
I had the Packers at 10. I think you had the
That's
Packers at 9, or did you even have them in the
no,
top 10?
they're out. I think that their wide receiver issues,
Wow. Okay.
it's going to lead to problems.
And
It's
then
not
I
the
had
fact they
the
won't end
Cowboys at
Micah Parsons.
yeah, I had Cowboys at 9. I had the Ravens at 8. So I think the only team that we had the same in the top or 10 through 6 were the Chiefs.
Who did you
That's
have
the
at
only
7?
team. I had the Chiefs at 7. They had the
Oh,
Broncos at
Chiefs.
6.
Okay. And the Broncos at 6.
Okay, but for my 5 through 1, um,
Should we go one and the other now? Or should we
sure,
just
sure.
continue? Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. At number 5, I have the Chargers. I I have been too low on them the past couple years. I was out of them last year, and they proved me wrong. I can admit when I'm
No, they
wrong.
didn't. No, they didn't.
And they had a
Firmly
really good
disagree.
regular season. Well, hear me out. They had a really good regular season, and that is with their two tackles being injured, like at the very beginning of the year. And those two tackles are elite tackles. That really changes your team when they come back. That's like if you lost Lane Johnson and Mulata at the same time. Your team's totally different. And they lost both their tackles, like first 3 or 4 weeks for the entire season. They're going to be back healthy this year, so that makes a huge difference. And I really like them adding McDaniels. He is a really good OC, not a good coach, but he's a good OC, and I think he's going to get the most out of that offense. Amari Hampton year two, we'll see what he can do. They didn't really add a lot on offense. They did add Njoku. I think that is kind of a under the radar signing. I think they're trying to get bigger, run the ball, have two tight ends with Granson and then Njoku out there with Lab McConkey at the slot. And they did draft, I think his name is Brennan Rice. I'm not sure, but he's a speedster, like a speedster. I think he was the fastest receiver in the draft, like a 4.32 or something crazy. So we'll see if Medina could do anything with that because you know how I love Tyreek Hill and utilizing him. But I really like their coaching staff. I really like their defense, and Justin Herbert is a top eight-ish
And
quarterback.
Brennan Thompson, is that who you're talking about?
Thompson, yes, Brennan Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah, he is a speedster. He's one of those guys that just gonna run the vert, clear out the middle, let McConkey and our tight ends just destroy the middle of the field, and I think that's what they're going to utilize. But the biggest thing, their tackles are healthy, so I like what I see from them. So I got them at number five.
Okay.
All right, who do you have at number five?
I have the Broncos at 5.
Okay, we're only one spot apart on that one. So
Yes. Yep. So I don't think there's more I need to say on that one. I think the Broncos could be higher. It just comes down to Bo Nix.
exactly, 100% comes down to Bo Nix. All right, at number four, I have your Eagles. I have your Eagles at
Okay.
four. Um, I think the offseason they added all the pieces they needed to. Grenard to shore up the pass rush, drafting Lemon in the draft because you're most likely going to lose AJ Brown. So, and then you picked up a bunch of other receivers. The only question mark I have, which you're a Stan, you believe in him, it's very possible, but the OC. Can the OC figure it out? Because the past OC could not at all. And I think that was the biggest issue last year. That and health. I think the health is going to be fixed because, the offseason get healthy. But can the OC figure out how to run this offense with the way it's designed? If that's a yes, they're going to be a really good team and a contender. If that's a no, then it's going to be a roller coaster ride, just like it was past last year. So that's my only question mark with the Eagles is the OC. Everything else, they've kind of shored up a bunch of spots that were issues last year, and then they're going to get healthy. So that's where I have the Eagles. It's a four.
At 4, I have the Bills.
Okay. Okay. Is there a reason why you have them at four and not like a top three team?
You'll see.
Okay. Okay. Well, at number three, I already know you disagree with this one, but we both agree that you can't just run it back with the same teams in the Super Bowl as your one and two. That's just silly. The teams are different. But I am going to give Seattle a little bit of respect at three because they are still a really good defense. And I love Jadarian Price. And I'm kind of giving my hand away here, but I think he's going to be great in the league this year and in fantasy because of where he landed with a running back room that has nothing. He's going to get all the touches, and everyone is comparing him to pretty much an exact replacement of Kenneth Walker. They have the same play style where they don't have elite speed, but they have really shiftiness to them, great contact balance, and they really can understand running lanes and get to holes really quickly. And is a good kick returner, which I
Can
think
I
is
just
a
make
low
one
key
comment
thing.
after this?
Yes,
I think this is
go
really
for it.
important. Kenneth Walker was the starter at Michigan State. Like, people are forgetting that. He was the bell
Mhm.
cow. That wasn't the case for Price. Like, I think it's being way overblown.
Well, Ken
It's
Walker
being
didn't have a
overblown.
Jeremiah Love in front of him.
But that's the point. And also, I'm just saying it's different, man. It's different. I think it's unfair to equate them as the same. He was not a first round prospect, which I just think I think that it's a little bit of Super Bowl
I think
bias on this stuff.
wasn't Ken Walker drafted in the second round?
He was, but that was also a different running back draft, and it was a different draft table. I think there
Mhm.
was argument to make him a first round pick, and he played like a first round pick. I just don't think it's the same thing with Bryce.
I'm not saying Jaren Price is going to be as good as Ken Walker, but I think in that system, he is going to fit it really well. And I don't think they're going to have a huge loss from Ken Walker to Price. I think it's going to be a loss.
I
but
think
not a
he's gonna
huge
be
loss.
I think he's gonna be like Isaiah Pacheco. That's exactly who I'd compare
I
it
don't
in
know.
terms of like expected value. I think he's gonna be just enough to make you angry you didn't get more.
I don't know. I see him a little bit higher than that. I see Price a little bit higher
I
than
think
that.
that's crazy. I mean, that's fair. That's fine. You do you, Andrew. But I think they left themselves a huge hole, and Jadarian Price is not going to fill that gap. And Charbonnet has a huge injury he's recovering from.
Yeah, yeah, but I think they did pick up the backup from Green Bay. Was it Emmanuel Wilson? So he's going to kind of be their two, and Price will be their one. And then when Charbonnet comes back, then I mean, a lot of people realize this, but Ken Walker and Charbonnet were splitting 50-50 last year. Literally 50-50.
They were.
And
They were.
Can Price replicate what Ken Walker did with 50% of the snaps? I think it's close enough. So I have the Seahawks at 3 with their defense and JSN and then drafting Jaren Price.
We'll see. I don't know. If Charbonnet wasn't injured, I'd feel differently. But I think that his injury is a big problem. It's gonna be tough
Hmm.
to recover from. So I don't know. I feel like the bias is strong when it comes to Price. I maybe he pans out, but there's a reason you were the number two. I know Love's a great player, but why didn't you transfer to somewhere else? Like why?
Not everyone transfers. People are so there are
Mm,
some kids, not a lot, but are um they're they love the team they're on. They're loyal. And even with Price being number two, he still got like 13 to 14 touches every game.
that's
And that's
low though,
really
man.
yeah, but
That's
with
low
splitting
for being a bell
50-50,
cow.
he never was a bell cow. And he's not asked to be a bell cow in Seattle when Charbonnet comes back. They're going to split 50-50. He's going to get about 13 to 15 touches.
Dude, Charbonnet has a huge injury. Like this is not some
Yes,
like
when he comes back. I'm not saying week one. When he comes back, whenever that is, they're going to be splitting 50-50.
I don't know. There's a lot of ifs we're working through here. There's a lot of ifs that we're I mean, we'll see. We'll see if he gets back in time. A torn ACL is huge.
It is. And he hurt that, what, the beginning of the playoffs, I think?
Yeah, so it was January.
Hmm.
So like uh, I just think we're being really aggressive and I think a lot of people are being really aggressive in what they expect for Charbonnet. So we'll see. We'll see if you're right, Andrew. So
I'm not expecting a lot from Charbonnet. I'm expecting a lot from Price. And his what he's asked is to touch the ball whenever they have their running back room healthy is 15-ish times at most. And he could definitely handle that. He did that at Notre Dame. He doesn't have elite speed, but you can argue that Ken Walker didn't have elite speed. Ken Walker's faster than Price. I think that's the main difference, but he was never a full-time bell cow.
Jadarian had 113 carries last year. Do you know how many carries that Kenneth Walker had last year?
Well, that's also a 17 game season compared to Notre Dame, like college has what, 12?
So they still had 13 games.
That's
Like
four
you
games
include the
difference.
playoffs.
That 4 games is a lot. That's like 40 to 50 possible touches.
Even the 40 to 50, you're still not where you need to be. Kenneth Walker had 221. Do you know how many sacks Charbonnet had?
180?
Yes.
Was I right on?
I think it's actually I just went away from it to look at the 184. So you're close.
I mean, I could see Jaron Price hitting 184 to 200 carries, and I would not be shocked. And he can definitely handle that.
I mean, he got a great average. I think it's a huge. I just think it's a drastically different situation. It's a huge jump, and
We'll see. We'll
okay,
see. Who do you have at 3?
I've got the Cowboys.
Oh, wow. You have the Cowboys all the way to 3. Okay.
I don't see why you wouldn't. I think they've had a great offseason. I think they got serious in the draft about addressing their defensive
Mm-hmm.
issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the person they've tabbed, Christian Parker, to be their defensive coordinator is a great
Mm-hmm.
get. It's a great get. It's a huge detriment to the Eagles, but I really like him, so I have them at 3.
Wow, this is coming from the guy who really hated the Cowboys' moves last year because you said that why are they picking up Quinn
I
Williams and
mean,
picking up these draft picks? It doesn't make any
but
sense.
it's different last year. I'm just saying, you look at the way they approach this offseason, it's different. They have been way more responsible. That's the only way I can describe it. They have been more
Mhm.
responsible than they have been in the past.
Well,
And I got to give them
it
props.
started with last year. That process started then, and now we're seeing some of the reciprocations from it. But
Yeah.
I do agree that they're going to be a good team. I just don't know if you could pin rookies to immediately bring your team into the third position.
I don't think it's about the rookies. I think it's about
Well, last year they missed the playoffs, and the only difference was they added rookies.
I do think the NFC East overall has an easier schedule than last year.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's going to be a huge factor. I think everyone in the NFC East has an easier schedule than they did last year. Last year was a very tough schedule for the entire NFC East.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's going to be a huge factor coming into next year. And then I think you also look at it, and I think that other people have tougher schedules. Like the 49ers just made it for me.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
they're outside my top 10. I'm not a 49ers believer this year.
I hear you. I hear you. And I totally
It's a
understand it.
pattern. It's a pattern. They go deep in the playoffs one year, then the next year they miss. And it also has to do with
Uh,
Christian McCaffrey. He is fully healthy one year, the next year he's not.
yeah, I hear you. I hear
And
you. Those
Kittle's
are
hurt
all
right now.
justified.
He's not going to play. They're older. I don't know. I don't see it with the 49ers. I don't know where I ended with them, but they're probably like around like 13, 14 range for me to
Okay.
where I just don't see them. But my number two team, so you had three, you had the Cowboys. Okay. My number two team, I have the Bills because they have the best quarterback right now with Mahomes injured. And even though DJ Moore is not an elite receiver, he still helps out that receiving room, helps it out by a lot because of how bad it was. So he's a good two. That's going to be their one, but they needed something. It was a really good addition. And I think they did a pretty good job in the draft. Like they added that edge rush from Clemson, TJ Parker, I believe. I think he's going to be really good. He was like a first round draft pick that they got in the second round because they traded back like 19 times. So I think they had a really good draft. The process was good. They got good value. And they have Josh Allen. And now he has a receiver. James Cook is still really talented. Their offensive line is awesome. Their defense needs to be more consistent, but I think they're the second best team in the league right now because adding DJ Moore, adding TJ Parker, two really big positions that they try to shore up. I like what they're doing. I have the Bills at two.
One thing I'm going to say on the Bills, I think that's important to point out is everyone's talking about the coaching adjustments for the Bills. The Bills just lost their head coach.
Yeah,
Like I think the league
but they still have the
is kind
same
of like
voice.
it's still not the same. You lost your defensive voice, and say what you want about the Bills defense. I think that Sean McDermott was given a bad defense.
That's fair.
I don't think it was Sean McDermott. I think he just had a bad team, and why their GM was promoted and given more
The GM
responsibility.
thing is crazy. Yes, that is
Uh,
crazy.
I mean, you talk about weird power dynamics. Like this is like
Hmm.
reverse Chip Kelly, Howie Roseman situation, where like if it like reversed, right? If the GM won and
Hmm.
the coach lost, I feel like that's what happened. And then, that's why for me the Bills are at four. I think the Bills have a talented team, but you're banking on DJ Moore becoming the number one receiver, and then after that, they didn't make any other move that was like, yeah, Skylar Bell. Okay, fine, but like that that doesn't take care of the wide receiver room. That doesn't say like, okay, now you're in a good spot. And like that was the weird head game I was playing with myself. Is it's like I got to leave the Patriots in there because I feel like the Patriots have overall they've done a good job setting up the team. The reason why I have them at eight is because you lose Stephon Diggs. You're coming after a Super Bowl year where the regression or the
Hmm.
loss year, the regression is typically real, but you could still be competitive. So I think that they deserve to be in there. I think the
I have
Bills
to
got a
say
lot of
with
questions.
the Patriots that you have to, unfortunately, I don't want it to happen, but you have to factor in the distractions. You have to. It's going to affect
Absolutely.
the team. So that's another reason why they're outside my top 10. And they don't have AJ Brown yet.
And I went back and forth and I thought about it, but I thought they're a good enough team. I think that you keep them at the tail. For me, for me,
Hmm.
the like 8 through like 13 range is fluid. Like that can move really
Yeah.
quick and who's in and who's out.
Yeah.
Um, but I put the Eagles at 2. I know
Okay.
that that's going to sound biased. I know it's. I went back and forth on the Eagles and Cowboys. For me, I just think the Eagles have some components that are better than the Cowboys, and so that's why I'd keep the Eagles at 2. I and I really think the system's going to work out. I love the move the Eagles made this offseason. I think it matches up well. I think the Eagles are going to be having they're going to look at things very different this coming season with how they're going to approach how to win football games. And I think that's going to help a lot for the future of the team. So
Hmm.
we'll see. I'm doing heavy lifting there too. I admit it. I'm expecting things to work out well with our coordinator Mannion. I'm expecting the Eagles to be able to adjust without Brown. I think they can. I think they've made all the moves that you need to for a wide receiver core to be able to sustain itself without Brown. So that's why I have him at 2, which
Okay.
means I'm guessing we both have the same number 1 team. So we have the
That would
same
make
somewhere.
sense. Yeah. We have the same Rams. Rams at 1, even though
Yes.
they wasted their 13th overall pick, which I'll say this. Everyone in the world is saying that the 13th pick with Ty Simpson was ridiculous and stupid and made no sense. If the Rams are looking at the future and they truly believe Ty Simpson is the replacement for Matthew Stafford in 2 or 3 years when he retires, and he turns out to be that, okay, yeah, it was the right move because your team didn't necessarily have any holes. It would be nice to add a really good additional player like, I don't know, Kai Lemon or Kenyon Sadiq that were sitting there at 13. That would have made sense to improve this year's team, but it wasn't like you needed that. And if you're looking at the future and saying that you need a quarterback in the future and you truly believe Ty Simpson could be it, okay, that's your decision. A lot of people disagree. I didn't think Ty Simpson was a first round pick, definitely not a top 13 pick. And maybe you could have drafted a quarterback next year since Stafford's back now, and you could have added an elite player to try to win a Super Bowl this year. We'll see. But even with them, quote unquote, punting on that 13th pick for this year's team, I still believe they have the best team. Adding McDuffie from the Chiefs with that late first round pick, that was awesome. Shored up their cornerback room because, as you saw against the Seahawks, they couldn't stop them. The Seahawks just kept coming. The Rams kept scoring, but the Seahawks kept moving the ball, kept moving the ball. So they needed to figure out a corner to get in the way of Jason at least a little bit. And that's what they did there. And so now the rest of their draft wasn't all that great, but they still have a really good team. They're not super old outside of
They
Stafford
also
and
did
Adams.
they also did sign Jalen Watson. Like we got to make sure to factor that in there too. They replaced both cornerback spots.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, on paper, they have the best team. So they should be number 1 in the power rankings. And I think we both agree with that. Is that the only one that we had the exact same spot? I think it was.
I think
We had
so.
like, I think we had half the same top 10, maybe 6 of the same top 10, but the only one we had the same overall were the Rams.
Well, some differences that we had versus like we I had the Jaguars, you did not,
And I had the Ravens. So basically, Ravens and Jags are switched for us.
and the 49ers and Packers. I think those were our two swaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you had the 49ers at 10. I had the Packers at 10. So, I
Oh wait,
mean,
you had the Chargers. Okay, so who's our third team?
who was the third team?
Just looking at the list over here. I had the Rams, Eagles, Cowboys, Bills, Broncos, Jaguars, Seahawks, Patriots, Chiefs, 49ers.
Patriots. Patriots. That's who it
Oh, that's
was.
right. I thought about it. I know I said it in the last episode, but I think you got to just barely put them in there. I mean, they are a barely team. They are holding on.
Hmm. Yeah, I have them at
Um,
12 or 13. Them and the Texans, I've been flip-flopping back and forth. So that's where I have the Patriots. It's like 12-ish.
I mean, and I want to believe the Packers can be good. I just think I think they had a rough offseason.
Yeah, they did. I just have seen this story before where somehow, I mean, whenever Jordan Love got hurt against the Eagles like 2 years ago in like was it Rio, wherever it was,
Yep.
It was like, oh boy, they're going to start losing games because they have Malik Willis as their backup, but they changed their offense and they won like three straight. I was like, oh,
We
somehow
did
they
feel
figured out.
differently. We did feel differently about Malik Willis. I've always had a little hope that Malik Willis could be a
Hmm.
competent, decent quarterback, whereas I think you were a little lower on him than I was.
Well, I don't know if I was lower on him. I just at that moment thought they're playing some tough teams, and they haven't designed their system for him because he's
Hmm.
definitely a different quarterback than Jordan Love.
Right.
So they're going to struggle. But their coaching staff changed everything. They went straight to a power run game outside of a balanced pass offense, and it worked. And I was very impressed. I was like, I got to. The Packers at 10 is a nod to the coaching staff, not necessarily the players. And it's just a
That's
respect
fair.
thing.
I think that's fair. I think if maybe I thought about that, maybe the 49ers, I just think the Mike Evans move is just enough to be competitive for me. For me, I think that's just enough to
He
help
is
out on
healthy week
offense.
one. Week two, he might not be, but week one, he's healthy because he hasn't practiced in the substation just yet.
It's hilarious to me though how I feel about the Jaguars. It's like how you're feeling about the Chargers, almost identical, honestly, just one
Yeah.
spot difference. But
Yeah.
we both feel so different about the other team. Like I'm a believer in the Jaguars. You are not. I am. You are a believer in the Chargers. I am not. I am not.
Hmm.
No. I just you got to factor in postseason, man. And Justin Herbert looks so bad in the postseason again. And I just think he's going to get another mulligan, and it drives me nuts. And now Mike McDaniels, Mr. Savior Genius, is going to come in and save the team. I just like why does Tua have to rehab his image, but McDaniels doesn't? That just makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I McDaniels was a part of the problem too. It's not like it was just
Hmm.
one guy. I don't know. I just
The credit I will give to McDaniels is even though his team was awful last year and they out of the playoffs, they were still fighting. They didn't give up on him. They were playing hard. They beat the Bills last year. So,
they
I
did.
mean, I'll
They
give
did.
them credit for fighting for their coach. That shows something. That shows that he didn't lose the locker room, which is really big for a coach who is in a really bad year. So I'll give him credit on that. Other than that, I agree with you as a head coach. I didn't like him. He was bad. As an offensive coordinator, I think he has the potential to be really good.
It's fair. Yeah.
Well, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
Our top 10. Well, maybe we'll do this again right before the season starts because this is like our way, as Rich Eisen says, way too early. Maybe we'll do our official week one top 10 power rankings, like, I don't know, end of August, something like that.
Do
I
we
think
not
that
need to
could be fun.
revisit it at the beginning of August? Is there not enough time to think about it, or do you think we?
Oh, we could do it as soon as you want. We can do it two or three more
Hmm.
times. I'm open
I
to
don't think
it.
you need to do it two or three more times, but maybe at the beginning of August it'd be fun to do it again. But maybe it doesn't make sense.
And then we're gonna
So
pick our team's win loss for the schedule got released. And I have to say, just off the cuff, I kind of like how some of the games landed on Minnesota's schedule. Like week one against Green Bay, I think that's very favorable to the Vikings because Green Bay won't have Parsons. They probably won't have Kraft. They probably won't have Tom. That's huge. That's huge. And like you said, the receiving room is weaker. I think Minnesota has an advantage there. And a little spoiler alert, I might have picked them to win that game because of all those injuries. And it's at Minnesota. Now, week 14 or 15, when they play Green Bay again and it's at Green Bay and they're healthy, I have that as an L because, well, we don't know who's healthy, who's not at week 15. It's really hard to predict that game. But Parsons should be back. Kraft should be back. All these guys should be back. And once they're back, they probably overall are a better team than Minnesota. And it's at Green Bay. So I gave them a win there. But week one, getting Green Bay week one where they're not prepared and not healthy, I love that for Minnesota. Let's go. And then, like I said, with the 49ers game, we play them internationally in Mexico City.
don't give
I was
away
like,
too much here, Andrew. We've got a whole
it's
nother
fair.
episode.
That's fair. That's fair. We'll dive into that next. Um, but yeah, I really like how the schedule landed for Minnesota. And I tried not to put too much purple Kool-Aid when I picked the schedule. But we'll see if you think it is too much purple Kool-Aid.
Okay.
I didn't have them winning the division. I'll say that. I had them finishing second.
All right, enough details, Andrew. People can listen to the next one.
Fair enough. Any last thoughts or comments on the schedule release or the power rankings?
No, it was fun doing the power rankings, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being right.
Okay. You know what we should do? We should recap last year. See how our power rankings were, because I think we
Yes.
still have those pictures and see how the teams ended at the end of the season or something like that. See where we're right, see where we're wrong. Because like I said, I looked at it and we both had the Commanders like top four. And yeah, that
Yeah, that was
didn't work
rough.
out.
That was rough. I've learned my lesson though. I put the Patriots down. For the record, I learned my lesson. I put them back down,
hmm
backed them down. I guess maybe you could say the Bills, I didn't learn my lesson, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, thank you guys for joining us in this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you next time.
We'll see everybody.